Good evening, Bahamas. Coming up tonight, the courts taking action to help prevent a further spread of the coronavirus. Meanwhile, businesses brace for COVID-19's economic impact. How BAHAMASAIR is coping amid a dip in travel. Plus, no cruise ships turns downtown into a ghost town.
Our news is brought to you by LLOYD.
Welcome to Our News and thanks for joining us. I'm Kyle Joachim. Topping news tonight, the global COVID-19 crisis has prompted sweeping changes in the magistrates and Supreme Courts. Chief Justice Brian Marie announced those adjustments, which include the suspension of new jury trials. He acknowledged this will have a negative impact on the backlog of court cases. Jasmine Brown reports.
The Chief Justice announced those sweeping changes to the justice system today as he admitted coronavirus will have a serious impact on court cases.
There will be some dislocation. It will cause some convenience, and I'm afraid that's the price we have to pay given the crisis that we are currently in.
One of the most drastic measures includes the suspension of new trials in both the Supreme and Magistrates Courts for at least 2 weeks. In the Supreme Court, new criminal jury trials will be suspended until April 14th, 2020.
Part-heard criminal trials before a sitting jury will be completed unless the judge adjourns the case for reasons unconnected to the coronavirus protocols. All of these cases should be dealt with within the next 7 days. This is to avoid the need to dismiss the jury and start the case again.
Despite fears of the spread of the novel coronavirus, Marie said it is not viable to completely shut down the judiciary. However, he said the courts will work to protect the safety and health of judicial staff and the public. New trials in the Magistrates Court will be suspended until March 30th in criminal cases, juvenile cases, and coroner's inquests. Marie said ongoing cases are expected to be wrapped up in the next 7 days. Interlocutory applications and case management hearings will be carried out by use of video link where possible. He said some bail applications will also proceed by video link in the remand court at the correctional facility in order to minimize the need to transport suspects to court.
The judiciary will respond with necessary changes to these procedures as developments warrant on the ground.
Arraignments on the magistrate side will continue. However, social distancing will be mandatory and the number of people allowed in court will be limited. New trials for traffic cases will also be suspended until the end of the month. Current cases will proceed but will also be subject to the same parameters. He added that all magistrate travel to the Family Islands will be suspended for 1 month.
These measures, which as I say are mitigation initiatives, I think will contribute to our backlog. I don't think there's any question about that.
The Chief Justice said the judiciary has introduced an enhanced cleaning regime in high-traffic public areas and court buildings and established hand sanitizing stations in strategic locations for staff and court users, among other measures. Reporting for Our News, I'm Jasmine Brown.
Cabinet ministers were tight-lipped on new information surrounding the coronavirus as they arrived at Churchill Building for their weekly meeting. Health Minister Dr. DUANE insisted more information will be provided in Parliament tomorrow. However, he did say coronavirus testing will only take place in New Providence. Giorgio Bain reports.
Although the country learned of the first confirmed case of COVID-19 on Sunday, cabinet ministers were mum Tuesday morning as they refused to give any updates on their ministries or the country at large. According to the ministers, they will give an update in the House of Assembly on Wednesday morning.
Tomorrow in the Honorable House of Assembly, we will give another update. We would like to make sure that the message is not being distorted. Unfortunately, there's so much fake news out there, so much misinformation and disinformation, that it becomes very careful to ensure that the message is clear, it's on point, and that people are not getting the wrong message.
And for that reason, Sands and many of his cabinet colleagues chose not to respond to many of the questions put forth by reporters outside cabinet Tuesday. The Bahamas confirmed its first case of coronavirus on Sunday. A 61-year-old woman turned up at Princess Margaret Hospital on Friday. However, she wasn't diagnosed with the virus until midnight Sunday. Health officials say no one listed as having immediate contact with the woman has shown symptoms of COVID-19 thus far. However, they have been asked to self-quarantine. Sands said on Tuesday that the woman remains in stable condition, adding further information would be made available on Wednesday. There have been reports of new coronavirus cases. However, Sands discouraged the public from listening to fake news.
There's a lot of fake news. There's a lot of misinformation. I think the Prime Minister was very clear that the public should listen to reliable sources.
When asked whether testing kits will be distributed to healthcare facilities on Grand Bahama and the Family Islands, Sands said
all testing is done in New Providence.
In the meantime, he says people have been calling the hotline set up to field calls from persons who think they may be infected.
We're going to be expanding the size of the hotline because we would like people to have access to reliable information.
There have been no significant updates on the country's first confirmed coronavirus case since the Prime Minister's address on Sunday. Foreign Affairs Minister DARREN HENFIELD said all information is embargoed.
Honor guys, it's not on COVID-19, right?
Yes, sir. Okay.
We're going to stay really disciplined with COVID-19. You can't take any risks.
Minister of State for Grand Bahama, Kwesi Thompson, ignored questions concerning a plan for Grand Bahama in the wake of the disease, as did Immigration Minister ELLSWORTH Johnson.
Good morning, everybody. At this time, we do have a comprehensive plan. I can't speak to it this morning.
Neither did Minister of Labor Dion Folks, Minister of Education Jeffrey LLOYD, and Social Services Minister Frankie Campbell.
Good morning, Minister. Good morning. Good morning, Minister. We have a request. Good morning, Minister Campbell. Can you provide an update on social services for our students? Can you update us? Can we speak to you about it? Are you able to speak with us on the COVID-19?
Meanwhile, Prime Minister Dr. HUBERT MINNIS promised that an update will be coming soon.
Are you able to provide any updates for us? Any insurances with complex?
Reporting for R News, I'm Giorgio Bain.
The National Insurance Board says it will pay benefits to workers whose income is suspended as a result of the coronavirus. That includes workers who are diagnosed with COVID-19, are under quarantine, or are temporarily laid off due to the economic impact of the virus. To qualify for the sickness benefit, you must be employed on the day of or the day before your illness, and you must be able to satisfy contribution conditions. The sickness benefit is also payable if you are quarantined because of exposure or suspected exposure to the virus. Meanwhile, unemployment benefit is payable to temporarily laid off employees who meet certain conditions. There is currently 1 confirmed coronavirus case and 11 people under quarantine. Meanwhile, restaurants and food truck owners already scaling back and taking a hit as coronavirus fears grow. In just a month, VIVANTS in Sandyport was set to celebrate its 1-year anniversary. Instead, the cocktail bar and popular hangout spot has made drastic changes, closing its doors at 4 p.m. and only offering to-go options. Kyle Jones says it was a tough decision to make.
As of today, we have started only outdoor service. You can come and sit, you can sit outside and enjoy your coffee, but everything will be served in to-go cups.
The spot, which has become known for its drinks and ambiance, now forced to have its doors closed in the evening time, which means a huge loss in revenue. But Jones said the company has given employees options that include everything except unpaid leave.
We found a creative way to pay them in the meantime. We're almost front-loading a loan to them. And in the end, they're going to kind of pay it back over time because we want to support them. Obviously, this is nobody's fault.
Jones says he, like any other business owner, is worried about the economic fallout from the coronavirus pandemic, but is hoping for more information from government as to what steps should be taken.
If it comes to what's best for this country or closures, then they need to come out and say that as fast as possible.
It's the same for smaller businesses like Food Cafe, owned by Chef JAMALL, who operates his food truck along West Bay Street.
I enlisted the service of 2 other delivery companies, that's Craven and the Delivery Guy. And that's basically so that I could be able to make available, well, you know, not just really delicious food, but food that would make sense for people, especially considering all that's going on in the country.
Brenton Saunders, who works with his father selling coconut water and jelly along Saunders Beach, says they've already felt a pinch and are concerned that the worst may still be ahead.
Things have slowed down a lot. The pace is still going, but it's going at a slower pace. We still have a lot of people still interested in the product. But it's just now the scare is on and people are just trying to retract and trying to protect themselves.
Bertha Boys Coconuts was created after the passing of Saunders' mother, Bertha, in January. He said no coronavirus is going to stop them now.
We're looking forward to doing some deliveries for our clients, where we're going to set up our website and everything, our social media, to be able to allow our clients to purchase online or just call in.
There was very little activity in downtown Nassau today now that cruise ships have halted their business for 30 days. The majority of cruise ships left port yesterday. Those that remain have no passengers and are conducting maintenance work. Empty buses lined the Bay Street area while Festival Place, Prince George Wharf, and Rawson Square were virtually empty. Some stores kept their doors closed. Missouri resident Brett Hammond and his wife were among the few tourists exploring Bay Street.
It's pretty empty. Our plane from Fort Lauderdale there was only like 30 people on it, so it was pretty. That was pretty shocking. It was the first time I ever had a whole row to myself on a plane. Yeah, it's just kind of interesting to see him. But like I told her, we found some cheap flights and said, why not?
Despite warnings from government officials to cancel non-essential trips, Hammond said cheap tickets and the low number of confirmed coronavirus cases in the Bahamas were deciding factors ahead of their vacation.
At the time, you know, things weren't, when we decided it wasn't too bad and there wasn't a whole lot going on with it down here, so we just decided why not. I think we had more cases where we lived than what was going on down here, so we just decided why not.
The Hammonds were the only guests on the True Bahamian food tour. Tour guide Lisa Whitney said she's concerned about the drop in business.
Absolutely, a little bit. I don't know anyone that wouldn't be, because we are, you know, we're self-reliant, each one of us. We have to go out and make our own. I have 3 kids and a husband that depend on me, so I'm a bit, you know, I'm nervous, I'm a little bit worried about it. But what exactly can I do specifically, you know, other than take the advice of my Prime Minister and my leaders on preventing this particular thing from happening in my own household?
Well, BAHAMASAIR has suspended all flights to Haiti until further notice, according to Managing Director TRACEY Cooper, who explained that the Haitian government is only permitting flights from the United States and Cuba.
Effective immediately until they advise us further. We're letting you all the public know that we will have to discontinue our flights into Haiti. We fly 2 destinations, into Cape and to Port-au-Prince. And so our flight starting tomorrow will be canceled until further notice.
BAHAMASAIR offered flight services from New Providence to Haiti 3 times a week. Cooper says the move will likely impact repatriations.
Unfortunately for repatriation, once the government has said that we cannot come into the country, obviously that will affect our repatriations as well.
Meanwhile, Chairman Tommy TURNQUEST says BAHAMASAIR has seen a significant decrease in passengers traveling to popular destinations like Florida.
Yesterday, out of Fort Lauderdale, we brought back on the jet 110 passengers. Captain Moxie was the captain on that flight. With regards to Orlando, this morning we left at shortly after 11 on a scheduled flight, again on a 737, and we had 43 passengers going into Orlando. Again, we're not sure the demographics of those flights, whether they're Bahamians trying to get home, because we're noticing that the numbers coming here are higher than the numbers going out.
Still to come, the PLP calls for financial relief for Bahamians amid the pandemic, plus how BAHAMASAIR is ensuring the safety of passengers. Stay tuned. Following the Prime Minister's call for a bipartisan approach to the COVID-19 crisis, opposition leader Philip Davis says the Progressive Liberal Party welcomes the invitation to collaborate with the government. This as the PLP's COVID-19 task force co-chair insisted the Bahamas must declare war on the coronavirus. Jasmine Brown has more.
Both the party leader and the co-chair of that recently formed committee commended the government on the steps that have been taken so far. However, they did say more still needs to be done. Davis said the party supported several moves made by the MINNIS administration, including the immediate closure of schools and the decision to stop disconnections by the Water and Sewerage Corporation. But he was quick to insist several issues need to be addressed urgently.
The National Insurance Board must provide temporary unemployment assistance to small and medium-sized enterprises and hotels that will be immediately affected and may be forced to reduce working hours and, in some cases, lay off staff. The central bank must strongly consider easing credit and lowering the cost of capital. Arrangements must be made with financial institutions to temporarily halt foreclosures and demonstrate patience with customers regarding loan payments.
Davis also called for regular updates from the business community, more stringent measures to prevent price gouging, and the halting of foreclosures, as well as having BPL stop disconnections. During a national address on Sunday, Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis said he has consulted with the opposition leader to keep him informed of the government's response, with hopes of working together in the spirit of cooperation. Davis echoed those comments as he insisted this is a time of crisis that should bring Bahamians together.
The only path forward is more compassion, more love, more determination. We take the next steps together, not just as a country, but as a family. There is no us versus them.
The PLP has formed a COVID-19 task force that Davis says is mandated to harvest expertise within the party to assist the government. Dr. Michael Darville and Dr. Melissa Evans co-chair that task force. Dr. Evans, who served in the United States military's medical unit, was present for the press conference. She insisted the Bahamas must brace itself for what is ahead.
We've examined all the data continuously, and we find that really containing the population is going to be imperative in order to put a cap on the transmission rate of the disease, at least until we can, as a country, come together and get everything in preparation to fight this war that we're going to be faced.
Reporting for R News, I'm Jasmine Brown.
As airlines around the world feel the effects of the novel coronavirus, BAHAMASAIR is beefing up cleaning measures to ensure passengers are safe. BERTHA McDermott has that angle.
Amid mounting concerns over the rapid spread of the novel coronavirus, BAHAMASAIR is carrying out extensive cleaning exercises on all of its aircraft. Director of Maintenance Dion Roll says each aircraft is cleaned for roughly 30 minutes before it leaves the hangar.
We only have a half an hour turnaround with that, so what we usually do with that is disinfect also and wipe down, but it's not as deep as when we tires in the night.
Now, officials said this process can cause some delays, but stressed that it is essential to ensuring that the aircraft is disinfected and passengers are safe.
And with respect to this coronavirus, we have to make sure that maintenance is following the protocols that are set forward in terms of proper sanitizing of the aircraft so you can reduce the risk of transmission of the coronavirus.
The aircraft also undergoes a deep cleaning every night, which takes about an hour. Then there's the deep fogging process. Once that's completed, Manager of Quality Assurance Mark Turnquest says his team then conducts an inspection of the aircraft to ensure it meets international standards.
If we come across something that we're not happy with, we'll report it back to maintenance and they'll have to come back and do it all over again.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Berthany McDermott.
Thanks, Berthany. Still to come, government officials stress the importance of social distancing. Plus, a Bahamian athlete trying to make the best of a situation. Stay tuned. Beaches were quite empty today as locals and visitors practiced social distancing. Public Parks and Beaches Authority Chairman Shannon Cartwright said as special cleaning is underway at public restrooms, it's important that Bahamian families use their discretion if they plan on hitting public parks or beaches.
This is a combination of the government making the necessary decisions, but also encouraging Bahamians to make their own decisions, personal decisions for the best interest of their families. And as you can see, even out here on the beaches, or even as you drive around the island of New Providence in particular, Bahamians are making decisions, good decisions for themselves in terms of the social distancing.
All permits for public gatherings have been suspended indefinitely, with no approvals in the near future. Cartwright urged event organizers to follow the authority's advisory. Otherwise, police will be called in.
We are just responsible for either giving out a permit or revoking a permit. Obviously, we can get in contact with the Royal Bahamas Police Force, who would be responsible for enforcing, if you will, the lack of a permit. And so we will do our best to partner with other agencies of the government, whether it's law enforcement, the Ministry of Health, whatever it may be, to ensure that we continue to keep sterile environments.
Still to come, how the coronavirus outbreak in Italy has impacted a Bahamian athlete. Stay tuned. You're watching Our News. Welcome back. The sports industry also feeling the effects of COVID-19. However, one Bahamian professional athlete is trying to make the most of his situation. Marcellus Hall has more in sports.
Bahamian professional basketball player Michael Carey finds himself in unfamiliar territory for this time of year. Carey, who would normally be in the midst of his season, is currently at home as play has been suspended in the Swiss Basketball League amidst concerns about the spread of COVID-19. For Carey, it's been a bit of an adjustment.
Well, right now, in the next few days, I'll probably be in a conference call with my president and my agent, because currently I'm still on the contract. So I think our league's supposed to be making it official. We kind of did what the NBA did, shut down for like 30 days. And but in that case, I'm just going to come home. And my good thing, my team was okay with it. But some European countries and some European teams are not. They're not letting their athletes go right now. So, Switzerland is more mindful, I guess. I kind of left the country.
Carey says that despite the disruption in play, he still has to stay ready for whenever play resumes.
Thank God for Jimmy Mackey with MacFit. I just got a membership there. I can use C.I. Gibson's gymnasium. So, we still have to stay in shape, just like the NBA guys, because as soon as this thing ends, we got to head back over. So my concern right now is how long it's going to take. I pray to God it don't take no more than 3 weeks, man, because just for regular people, with the you don't want the world to hit a recession or anything like that, and people lose their jobs.
Carey also reflected on the Bahamas national team program, which has been doing pretty well as of late.
I think people now are starting to respect a lot of Bahamian basketball. They're not taking us lightly. We still have to beat USVI to prove that we're the best team in the Caribbean, even though we have some high-profile wins. We're going to be boosting the FIBA rankings now, but the youth talent we have coming up, it's a great era for Bahamian basketball. It started off with Buddy Hield, Andre Ayton. Now you got guys like Travis Munnings. Even though Deshaun Taylor's plays at home locally, that's another guy who's going to play professionally in the high ranks. Keno Burrows, me, Shaquille Clare, Kadeem Kobe. The Kobe brothers, actually, Kadeem and Dwight. We got a lot of firepower. And the crazy thing is, that's not even our best team. So let these countries keep joking and sending their C and D teams,
For the time being, however, Carey and other members of the sporting community are optimistic that things will return to a sense of normalcy as soon as possible. Reporting for Our News, I'm Marcellus Hall.
Thank you for joining us for Our News Tonight. On behalf of the entire team, I'm Kyle Joaquin. Remember, you can catch Our News on the go with the RevGo Play app. Have a good evening, Bahamas.